guys, and welcome to today's video, which is going to be my back to school Q&A advice video. I'm not gonna lie, since I woke up this morning I've been sitting on Netflix watching Gossip Girl, and whilst I was watching my 5th episode of Gossip Girl, it dawned on me how unproductive I was being. So that is why I've decided to film this video right now. So if you're wondering why my makeup is very minimal and my hair is so greasy and natural, that is why. And I'm not wearing any trousers. Now that is out of the way, I think we can start the video. So I just asked you guys on Instagram to ask me loads of questions about school. I ask most of my questions on Instagram, so if you don't follow my Instagram, it's beautybycat08. So next time you can ask me a question and I'll include it in my next Q&A. So I'm going to start off with my personal favourite question from Maya Zelia. I cannot pronounce her username, which says, how do you survive if you hate school? Well, I have quite a lot of experience with this. I kind of hated high school quite a lot. I used to wake up quite a few days and be like, you know what, I do not want to go into school. All I would say is just think that it will be over in just a few years. And those years will fly by so quickly. I guarantee at the end of those years, you'll look back and be like, actually, school wasn't that bad. I would also remember that school is primarily for learning, which is a fun and interesting thing. And remember that you are so lucky to actually be able to go to school. So just stick at it. It will be over soon. Emily Morris asked me, how much revision do you have to do? So this completely depends on what level you're at. For A-levels, which I did when I was 16 to 18, I did a lot of revision. And by a lot, I really do mean a lot. I've revised every single night since January and my exams were in June. So that was pretty intense, but most people in my year didn't actually do that much revision. I think I'm kind of an odd case because I revise a lot. But I would probably say that it's sensible to start revising a few months in advance. Because I know loads of people have said this, but it's better to start early than start too late. So if your exams are in June, I probably recommend that you start around March or April time. But if you're a bit like me, you can start earlier. It really depends on how hard you find the subject. Anna Kamama asked me, what can I do if I don't know what to answer? And I would simply say to that question, just say, I'm really sorry, but I don't know. I know it might be a little bit embarrassing at the time, but it's better if your teacher knows that you don't understand. That way you can get help and actually understand in the future. Or you could just guess and hope that you get the right answer. Floating Innocent Saskai asked me, how do you succeed at A-level? Any particular tips? If you guys have just seen a change in the video quality, it's because I turned the brightness down because I looked like a ghost. Anyway, I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. Oh yeah, if you're not from the UK and you don't know what A-levels are, they're basically just what you do when you're 16 to 18 in school. And I got my A-level results 2 weeks ago and I got A star, A star, A, B, B. And if you're just curious, I got into Durham University to study law in September, which is pretty exciting but a little bit scary. How to succeed, I would say that you just have to revise a lot and make sure you know everything, because they're completely different than GCSEs, which you do when you're about 14 to 16 in the UK. For GCSEs, I got 7 A stars and basically all you need to do is revise the textbook, but A-levels are a lot harder than that. You really actually have to understand the subject. For example, I did history and I had to do loads of outside reading, but just be sure that you take classes or A-levels you actually enjoy, because that outside reading didn't really bother me because I really liked history and I actually came out with an A star. Then It's Junior 12 asked me how to keep focused when you're doing revision and in general. I know that it's extremely hard to keep focused when you're revising, especially if you're like me and revise for a solid 6 months. But what I did is just envisage your end goal. So for me, it was to get really good grades and get into Durham. And I knew if I didn't revise and I didn't work hard, then there was no way of me getting in. Also, I know that everyone says this, but just do your revision in small chunks. That way you'll keep less distracted and just remember that will be over in a few months. Then Miss Monson asked me how to deal with bullying and anxiety. Okay, personally, I used to get bullied a lot in my old school and it was something that really did make me hate school. But what I would say, like I said earlier, is just remember that school will be over soon. Whether you're a freshman or a senior, school will go by really quickly. And just think to yourself, excuse me bullies, but I am way better than you. And anxiety wise, I personally didn't have anxiety, so I can't really comment on this, but literally all I would say is to build up really slowly. So make it your mission for that day, for example, to talk to a new friend or to say yes to go to that party, because I'm sure once you've done that you will feel so much better about yourself. Then the last question that I'm going to answer is from Jamie Chang 13, who asked, how do you study for tests and exams and what's my favourite song at the moment? To answer the second question, definitely Shake It Off by Taylor Swift. The first time I listened to it I was like, whoa, this is really not traditional Taylor Swift, I'm not really a fan, but after listening to it a few more times I've literally become addicted. predicted. Then to answer the first question, how I study is through writing notes and highlighting. I just found writing down notes was really helpful for memorising things. I also liked making little poster things to put up in my room, so when I was doing my makeup or doing my hair I could look at them. And yeah, I think I rambled long enough for this video. Also, I did get quite a few questions on how I stay organised, but because I did get so many questions, I might as well put that in a separate video. So be sure to check that out when I do that video in a few weeks. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any more back to school video ideas for me, just comment them down below. So yeah, I will see you next time, guys. Bye, I love you.